Let's take a look at how to create an inline table-valued function in Microsoft SQL Server. A table-valued function is a user-defined function that will return the data in a table format. Now, with the returning type being in a table format, it means that the table-valued function can be used just as how you'd use any other table in the database. So let's take a look at this in practice to get a better understanding as to how we'll create an inline table-valued function, use that inline table-valued function, as well as alter that table-valued function. So today we'll be looking at our vehicle table. So let's execute this statement to see the records that are present. So we have 8 records in this particular table that are in 4 columns. We will be creating an inline table-valued function and provide it with a variable cost. So what we'll be using with that function is, once we provide the variable cost, it will return to us the results in this particular table that would be equal to or greater than the value cost that we've provided based off of the cost column. So let's go ahead and create that function statement. So our statement would look like this. We'll first start off with our create function keyword. Then we need to provide the name of that function. So we're naming this function vcost. Then what we'll be doing is specifying a variable that will be used in this function. So we're placing in brackets at cost, and we're giving this data type int to the variable cost. Now what we'll be doing, because it's an inline table valued function or any table valued function, you will need to specify returns table, because we're expecting the result to be returned to us in a table format. Now we'll specify the as keyword, and then what we want to do is to provide the specific query based off of the data that we're trying to retrieve. So we're going to say return so that it will be able to use this select query, take the data, and then return that information to us as a table. So what we're saying is select make, model, color, and cost from the vehicle table, where cost is greater than or equal to at cost. So whatever variable, whatever value that we've provided for the variable, it will utilize that within the function, search in the vehicle table, and look for cost where that variable is greater than or equal to the costs available in that column. So let's highlight and execute to create this function, and that has been successfully created. So let's take a look at how we'll use the function. So we'll start off by using our select keyword, star, from, and remember we said that the table valued function will return the information to us in a table format. And because of how it functions, we can actually think of using the table valued function itself as a table. So what we'll be doing is specifying our table valued function as our table in this select statement. So we're going to call the table valued function, which is vcost. And what we need to do now is open brackets and specify our variable. So what we want to do now is specify a number that we're going to be checking against in the cost column. So we're interested in all vehicles that are greater than or equal to 40,000. So now we're going to highlight and execute to see the results from this table valued function. So the table value function returned to us 5 records in its response, and all the vehicles present are greater than or equal to $40,000. As we can see, we have 53,000, 44,000, 48,200. So the table valued function utilized the variable we provided, which in this case will be 40,000, and did a check and return to us those specific results. Now, as we said, we're utilizing this table valued function just as any other table, or how we'd use a table in the database. So what this means is we can add our where condition to it, where, and let's say we only wanted to target where the color of the vehicle is red. So we'll say where color is equal to, and we'd specify red. And now we're going to highlight and execute, and it functions just as expected. So the table valued function is functioning just as how it use any other table in the database. But the specific benefit in using a table valued function is you've specified the column or the specific variable that you are interested in working with to get targeted results. So you're able to use that without doing additional processing in terms of statement creation. Now, if we're interested in setting a default value for the cost variable so that we don't always have to specify a number, then what we can do is alter this statement, and the only difference between the create statement and the alter statement in alter in a function is the initial keyword. So we'll change the create to alter. And now what we're going to do for the at cost variable, we're going to set a value of 30,000. And then we're just going to highlight and execute the statement, and it has now completed successfully. So what that means now for us is we're going to, well, first let us remove this where condition, and we're going to remove the 40,000 and just place the value of default. And now once we highlight and execute, we'll see that it utilizes the default value of 30,000 to return to us the results. Now, is it possible for us to use the default without actually specifying? Let's see. We are unable to do that. So we need to place the word default in there for it to use the default value. So this is just a quick look at how to go about creating a table valued function, using that table valued function, as well as altering a table valued function.